It's your boy, Just Dom, catching the day's latest news. What's going on around the roads? Find out here first at the TCP Newsbreak.
Good morning and welcome back to the TCP Newsbreak. This is Lady L, and we have a fantastic news break with one of our young leaders here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who is out here leading the way, making sure that we are advocating for Black lives here in our community. So I want to invite Mr. JP to the news break. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone.
So
I'm Justin Pitt. You said, how am I?
Yes.
I'm very good. You know, another day fighting for justice. You know.
Yep. So, Justin, how did you find yourself advocating for Black lives? Can you kind of share that with our audience? How this all came about for you in particular?
Yes. Well, what started for me was, I would say the George Floyd video was kind of like a trigger for me. You know, it was the trigger that was being pulled on the gun of so many videos I've watched, you know, and it made me cry. I'm not gonna lie, it made me cry like a baby. And right then and there, you know, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. You know, I felt like I was waking up every day, giving my time, giving my energy towards the white man, but my people are dying every day. You know, so it didn't add up. So the cry was more than just like George Floyd death. It was more like a cry like, what can I do? You know? And right then and there I called my best friend, and I was like, let's do a protest, bro. I was watching the entire day how Minneapolis was doing their protests, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Look how the cops are treating them, you know, just for protesting about something that was clearly and blatantly wrong, you know. So that's literally what happened. I called them that day. We set up an event page, and on Facebook, it got like over 1,000 people seeing it. And the next day, we literally went out. I stayed up till 4 a.m. making signs. I was making signs and just like excited just to go out and protest. You know, I was excited because for once I actually felt like I was a part of something that was bigger than me. You know, I felt like I was actually making a stand for not just, you know, George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and those, and, you know, a lot of people who lost their life to police brutality, but I was standing up for everyone who is Black now. You know, everyone who's Black and people of color now who's going through this. So that's kind of how I got involved. Honestly, it was an instinct. You know, I thank God, I praise him to the Most High, and I'll say he used me that night.
Awesome. So were you expecting this for your future at all? I mean, so you know how some of us, we grow up and some of us say, hey, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a social worker, I want to be an advocate. Did any part of you say, I want to be a political change agent? You know, I want to be a thorn in a political party side
Right.
until the change goes down.
Right. So that's actually funny you said that because, like I said, I was in the church, you know, growing up, and it was always prophesied on my life that I would speak to people and I would lead people. So that's why that night, you know, or that day or the first day of the protest, I felt like my heart felt whole. It felt like I was supposed to be there. It felt like that's what I was supposed to do. So that calling, it was always prophesied on my life by my pastor and other pastors that, you know, would pray over me. It was prophesied on my life multiple times. So, you know, me doing what I'm doing now, it's kind of like, it's kind of like Jesus just telling me like, dude, I always told you was gonna do this. Don't fold on me now. Don't, you know, do it. You got what it takes. So yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So how many protests have you guys organized so far?
About 10.
Okay.
10, and I'll probably say in total protests that we've been to, I'll probably say about 15, because we work with a lot of organizers around here, and a lot of them do protests as well. And one things that Green Dreams, which is my organization, we're about helping and providing security for any protest, not just ours. So, you know, a lot of the protests that was other organizations, we, you know, came out and supported them on the security aspect, and even just, you know, giving our young voices as well, because we're powerful, and, you know, everyone, we're all in this together. So I'll probably say about 10 that Green Dreams organized.
Awesome. So how does it go for you? How do you decide that, you know, today's a good day to protest or tomorrow's going to be a good day to protest? Or are you inspired? Do you meditate? Like, how do you know that it's time for the Green Dream to come out and make a protest and make a statement versus supporting another organization?
I think it's kind of just, if I don't think any time is a good time, because when you know, you wake up and you might have a bad day. You know, you might have a bad day. You don't want to go outside. You don't want to be in the heat, because that's a big factor now with these protests. And that's where it comes to play as of how passionate you are about it. You know, and most importantly, you know, I lost my job due to all of this. So it was, to me, I'm taking it up 110%. You know, right then and there, that proved to me that the white man didn't care about me, regardless that I lost my job, you know? So for me, I'm gonna be out there every day if I have to. And we kind of know it's when we kind of know that when it's time to do a protest, when things are kind of getting quiet, you know? When officials aren't really doing their jobs. When one protest, they said, okay, we seen you guys out there, so this is what we're going to change, but we're not seeing it. So that's kind of what fuels us, because it's like, okay, at this point, you know, you're kind of thinking us as a joke. So now we're going to shut down even more streets, and we're going to be out there even more longer, and until you can, you know, actually pay attention to us, because we're not just out here screaming and yelling for no reason. We don't want to be out there screaming and yelling, but the fact of the matter is we have to. So with that question, I think, honestly, because I wake up with a bad attitude every morning. I'm not gonna lie. I wake up, I don't want to get up. I love my sleep. So it's kind of like you just got to do it. If there's something, you know, that tells me, for an example, when people hit me up from these outer towns like Manhattan, Coreyville, and I see that there's people that's not only my color that are out there in these protests, it's kind of like, okay, well, you need to be out there. You need to be doing things. You need to, you know, there's no reason why you should be in your bed right now. So every day it's kind of like a learning aspect, and, you know, me just going with the flow and getting it done.
So are you ever at all fearful for yourself or your team or any other protesters when you guys are at a protest, when you're organizing a protest?
Yes. When we are in like these towns like Coreyville and Manheim and stuff like that, there's always that chip on your shoulder, like, okay, not everyone's gonna be out here for what we're doing. You know, there's going to be a lot of racists. There's going to be a lot of people with guns. Me personally, that stuff does not scare me, because when I think of racists, I think of guns and you know, vests. I think of them like they're going to come out to a protest. They're going to use that to intimidate us. So me personally, when I think of, you know, that stuff, I kind of don't let it get to us in the protest. Green Dreams, we kind of stick on the security aspect. And regardless of what's going on, our main priority is the protests, is the people that are marching with us. So, and with that being said, we put ourselves on the front lines. So, you know, if anything is to happen, we're the first ones that are either taking the bullet or are arguing with people or are, you know, making sure the crowd is safe, because that's what we're about, you know. And most importantly, if you're going to try to get in our way, if you're going to try to hit us, well, then you're going to have to hit 10 other Green Dreams people first, you know. So that we're always fearful when we go out to these small towns And, you know, even just in our town, Lancaster as well, because the thing with Lancaster is you never know when the cops are going to decide, okay, we've had enough. Let's go out and riot gear. They already did it day 2, you know? So every protest is kind of like a fearful thing. We've had bombs, you know, that were discovered by Stoop Kids, which is another people that protect our protests. So we have multiple ways of like securing that our protests are safe if you're going to be, you know, in our march. And we're always fearful for our lives being in these protests because, like I said, we're in this racist town. We're in a lot of racist towns. So a lot of people there try to hit us. They'll try to, you know, argue, bring their guns. So yeah.
Okay. So my next question is a lot of the stuff that's happening today, it mimics a lot of stuff of the past. It looks like, you know, the civil rights movement of 1965, which is very interesting because it's almost like how far have we really come? So
Right.
my question for you is, who inspires you? What great leaders inspire you to keep you going, keep you motivated? Because this work is not easy. And I mean, it's only going to get more, you know, tiresome because, you know, winter is coming. So,
Right.
so how do you stay inspired?
How do I stay inspired? Me personally, to be a leader, you got to be a reader. That's something that, you know, I hated reading books. I'll tell this to everyone. I didn't like doing it, but someone, you know, getting into this, people that I've met like Marquise Lupton and, you know, Isaac Eder, they told me like, well, you know, here's some good books that I read. And, you know, me personally, I'm like, oh, I don't like reading. But then again, you know, Isaac told me like, you know, if you're gonna be a leader, you gotta be a reader, man. Like, so now I dedicate every day. I dedicate in the morning. I dedicate a chapter and a book, regardless if it's right now I'm reading Dare to Lead. So every morning, before I look at my phone, before I look at anything, I read, and you know, that helps me as well, along with one of the Black leaders that I follow that, you know, I'm passionate about is Harriet Tubman. She honestly just reading the things she's said, the things she's done, it's so inspiring to me because she not only did she help, you know, thousands of slaves and was a spy during the Civil War, she did it all without knowing how to read. You know, and that's something that a lot of people don't know because it's like she was a Black woman already facing the odds right there, a slave, and she didn't know how to read. So I look at that and it's like, bro, I got no excuse. This lady was putting signs in the woods, you know, leading these people and doing it the most smartest way without actually, you know, knowing what, if someone was to write something on a paper without her actually knowing what it meant, you know, because she did it all, everything she did was through her heart. So that's one woman that keeps me pushing and that I admire. I read everything about her. Me getting into what I'm doing now, she's kind of like the advocate for me. You know, like I look at the things she did, and there's just no excuse at all for everything that I do.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that's some people say, oh, I don't like to focus on like slavery and our history and everything like that, but you can really become inspired hearing about their stories and their triumphs, and despite the negativity and despite, you know, white supremacy, they overcame and they helped to make it possible for those of us that are here today, for people like you to go out here and continue to advocate and fight the fight.
Right.
So moving forward, my next question is, what do you want to see out of this, out of the protest? What do you want to come of it? What would you like to see achieved, rather is here in our city of Lancaster, or if it's something for our county or something for the state? Do you have any ideas on policy reform or anything that you guys would like to see moving forward?
Me personally, Green Dreams, we're big on I'm sorry about that. We're big on I'm sorry, one second, please. All right, yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. One thing we're big on is the community. So what we want to see is more after school programs. You know, we want to see things that not only kids, me personally, I'm big on education as well. I don't think kids should be paying for lunch. So we want to see that changed as well. We want to see we want to see libraries and these hoods, what they like to call us, hoods and ghettos. We need to see libraries in these places. We need to see things that these kids can go to, because there's a lot of things that when you're young, you feel like you can't speak on because you're young, you know? So we need places and platforms where these kids can go to where they're not easily to be persuaded into doing drugs, or they're not easily persuaded into joining a gang. Because right now, that's what we're going through. That's what the kids in the hood that's their only choice. Okay, well, I don't want to do school, so let me join a gang, because a gang is going to feed my pockets, and me working a job, that's just taking my time. So that's where these places come to play, like after school programs, and even programs for sports, programs for chess, a lot of things that used to be implemented back in the day that they took away need to be implemented again, because it was high key a help, but because it helped, they made it look like it wasn't a help. They made it look like it wasn't helping our towns and our cities, this and that. So give it to us now, and then let us show you. Now that we have the technologies we have in this world, let's make a market of Black-owned businesses. We barely have any around here, and when we do, they're so easily to get shut down. Let's fund these businesses. Put money. Most importantly, because a lot of white leaders, they like to say, "Oh, I support Black Lives Matter," but put your money where your mouth is, because the world runs off of money. So you can say, "Oh, I support Black Lives," but then again, you're going and you're buying a Gucci bag and you're doing this and that, and you're doing, you're supporting all these businesses that are destroying us, that are putting us into this dirt. So it's like, that's one thing I want to see as well. I want to see them start implementing these things for kids. These parks look dirty. Like, it's no way they should be trash in the parks in the hood and in the ghettos. They look dirty. Like, come on now. Like, there's trash everywhere. They're not upgraded with the nicest things. But then, you go to these white neighborhoods and all their roads are nicely paved. But then you go to the city and the roads are trash. They'll mess up your car just driving down the street. So it's little things that they can start on fixing. That's not that hard, It's little things to just show that, okay, we're listening to you. We want to support the community. We want to be in these buildings with you guys. So and also the lead as well. There's a lot that needs change. There really is a lot. But Green Dreams personally, what we want to see is change in our community. We want to see them actually looking for change. We want to see them actually, wanting to support and fund our future, because that's, if to get down to it, that's what it's going to come to. We're doing this now because of our future. We're doing this because of the kids that are after us, So yeah, that's what we want to see change.
I can dig it. Yeah. I know that lead is a really big thing around here, and I know that the city recently got some supports to do some massive lead testing. So we'll see how that goes, because we know like lead can lead to issues like ADHD and all types of other diseases. All right. Well, Mr. Justin, how can people get in contact with you, get in contact with Green Dreams? Like, how can people follow up?
Please feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Green Dreams with a ZPA.org. That's us right there on Instagram and Facebook. Also, you can we have a website as well, which is Green Dreams with a ZPA.org.
All right, all right. Are you guys having any meetings soon? Are you welcoming new members or general members or anything like that?
Not currently, but what we do is we kind of see, who's passionate about this, from being out there. If you're showing up to every protest, if you're not only are you showing up, but when you get here, are you coming to us leaders and you're asking us, hey, what can I do? And that's kind of how we bring people in as well. We just added 2 people, but they kind of prove themselves. Like I said, they've been with us since we started. They've proved themselves showing up to the protest. So that's kind of how we, invite people in and kind of bring people a part of Green Dreams. But you can always come with us and support us. That's one thing we're about. Always coming to a protest, supporting, regardless of where it's at. Because these small towns, they need us. The Black people in these small towns, they need us. They need our voices, They need hope. So that's how you can get involved with us.
Awesome, awesome. All right, JP, thank you for joining us today on the TCP Newsbreak. Guys, stay tuned. We got more TCP in the morning coming right on up.
It's your boy, Just Dom, catching the day's latest news. What's going on around the roads? Find out here first at the TCP Newsbreak.